Hey yo, Farmer Dre back at it. It's another beautiful day here on the farm. It's nice and sunny. June is here, so we better get some nice weather. We are out here in our newly planted high density apples out here in block 1. We got Evercrisp, Ludacrisp, Golden Delicious, and Sweet Miles in this new planted block. And today we are pruning them and making sure we're getting the most growth as possible. I'll explain that in a bit. Let's go and get started. In the past 3 or 4 years, I've learned so much about high density apples and trying to get things right and perfected. So now that I kind of know a lot more stuff, our goal on this high density apple is to get the trees planted in the ground. Of course, that's the first obvious step. And then in the first 2 years, you want to get the tree to the top of the first wire. So our top wire there is at 10 foot tall, or it's gonna be. We haven't quite got the trellis system done. We're still working on welding the clips here, which right here, they're done, but we're putting on these U clips there on these hooks, on these metal posts here. So we gotta finish that off here in a couple more weeks. We'll get the entire trellis system done so that we can get this trees completely finished and staked and trellised. But we're using the 2 7/8 pipe here, metal pipe. And if you guys have been following the channel for a long time, we're out here in southwest Missouri, so we have a lot more rock in our soils compared to other places in the US. And we probably have good 2 to 3, maybe 5 inches of decent topsoil, if that. And then we get into hard rock fragipan, and we quite don't have fragipan right here, but it gets pretty rocky pretty fast. So we go with metal posts on our high density apple just because it makes it easier for us to pound them in. They're pretty sturdy. If we were trying to pound in a wooden post, we'll just snap every single one of them. So this close to 3-inch pipe here works pretty good. And the only downside of using metal pipe is you got to weld 4 clips on every single post. That's what it's taking us forever right now. So once your entire trellis system is done, your goal is to reach the top wire by the end of the second season. So you're trying to get as much growth as possible this year and starting next year. So the way you do that is, I've learned over the years, is you want to go ahead and single leader the tree and make sure there's no side branches, no other branches on the tree except the one that you're trying to get to that top wire, just because it encourages that single leader to get going, get growing. And once you reach that top wire, then you go ahead and start having side branches, and you could possibly, get some fruit in the second and third year. But our goal now is just to get the tree as tall as possible, as fast as we can. The first time I did high density apples, the first block we have here on our farm, listen to the guys from out of New York and Michigan. A lot of those guys, they get the trees, a well-feathered tree from the nursery, and they tie down the branches. So they tie down the branches below horizontal, and that works well in their soils. But here in southwest Missouri, we farm a really heavy clay soil. It's more of a clay loam on this side of the farm here, but it's still pretty heavy red clay. And for us, we don't have as much vigor in the soil as the other guys do. And our climate, we get really hot really fast, and it just different variations. And the biggest thing that I did wrong in our first block is tie down those branches. It didn't encourage the single leader to get growing fast. So you did get some production in the second year, but then your leader doesn't hit the top wire, and then you don't fill up the entire trellis space. And then in the long term, thinking 5-6 years down the plan, you're not making as much per acre if you don't fill up that trellis system of the wood first. So what we're doing is we're coming through here, and they broke butter right here. So this is how much growth we've seen since the beginning of the year. So this is a double leader here, or it's split up in 2. And technically, I'll just let this grow out, and one of them I'll come back in through the winter this fall and cut them off. But you look at here, this is what, 6-7 inches of growth on both of those here. But on this single one, if this one just had a 1 single leader break bud here, this is already 8, 9, 10 inches, maybe close to a foot of growth. So if you're splitting the energy of the tree into 1 or 2 or 3 different leaders, then your growth is in half or even in third. But if we're just doing 1 single like this, then all the energy goes to this leader here, and then this thing will shoot right up and we'll reach that top of the post there, which these are not too bad. That third clip there is at 6.5, 7 foot. This tree's almost there, so we shouldn't have a problem if we keep training them to the single leader there and not allowing any of these splits here or any of the forks to reach that top wire. So what we're doing today, I got both of the guys down there, but all we're doing is taking the pruners here and we're just summer pruning. So summer pruning devigorates the tree. So I'm not sure if you guys know this, but summer pruning devigorates the tree where you prune. Winter pruning vigorates the tree where you prune. So let's say, you know, this is a fully mature tree. I come through and prune it in the winter. Then next in the spring, it's gonna shoot out those buds and explode. If you prune during the summer in that area, then it devigorates the tree in the area. So I'm gonna go ahead and get our small pruners here and just leave like a 2-inch stub right there, like this. So this just now devigorated this tree here. So this little stub here is not going to grow as vigorous anymore. All the power and energy is going to go to this top leader here. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the straighter one, the one that's more vigorous, just like that. Leave it just a flush cut there. No, I don't want a stub over there. So now all the power and energy from the tree is going to go ahead and put all its energy into growing this all the way to the top. And over here, you can leave, you know, 4 to 5 inches. Just make sure you cut off that apical meristem there. Just make sure all the power and energy goes to the leader. So that's what we're doing here, is going through here real quick. This one's perfect right here. Maybe this one right there, cut off that branch. We don't need that branch there. Just one single leader going up. Everything is just, you know, either going to be fruiting buds or, you know, going to be side branches in the future. But we're going to do this a couple times this year. We're doing it now because we've already seen, look at this. That's already a foot of growth since they broke bud, and it's just June 1st here. So it goes pretty quick. You know, you look at the trees and just single leader them, just like this. If you see anything, single leader them. Most of these are pretty good on having that single leader, but just double checking every tree here. Just going like that, cutting these up, single leadering them, and that's about it. And then everything underneath that first wire there, we go ahead and cut it off completely. But yep, so right here, there's 3 of them. You got 5 inches of growth. That's not too good. So we're gonna go ahead. It's kind of hard holding the camera. One, cut that one off. Cut that one off. So you can look at the difference. You got close to a foot of growth right there on this tree, and then 5 inches, because I was sharing the energy of 3 different branches there. So right here, leave a small little, you know, 2 to 3 inch stub there. Same thing over there. All the power and energy goes to one single leader. Just keep on moving forward here. So pretty quick, pretty fast. Another perfect example right here. This one was sharing its energy, so then the main leader didn't grow much. So we want, like I said, all the energy and power to go just to that 1 leader there. Yep, just like that. And then whenever we come finish off the trellis system, we're gonna have what to tie off whenever we do get the stakes going. All right, so this row right here is Golden Delicious, and they're pretty well feathered trees. And this comes from a different nursery. We got these from our peach nursery. But you know, kind of leave a little stub there, and just a single leader of them. And these came in a box. The ones from Wafflers came from in a crate, so they don't chop off any of the leaders there. Whenever you get trees in the box, 95% of the time they're going to go ahead and cut the trees at the size of the box. So then you have the a side branch that's not the grown from the apical meristem there. So, you know, come through here and find the biggest shoot there, the biggest branch you're gonna let grow, and that's about it. So right here, obviously this one's bigger. Go ahead and cut that to stub, and same over here. Cut these off completely flush. You don't want these here. Cut this little branch there. So this is right here. So we went ahead and cut it off there from the nursery, and it's growing, but this one overpowered it. So just let that one keep on growing. And of course, if we see any fruit on these, pull them off. But yeah, cut that one, cut that one. Man, I'm a lot slower when I'm filming. And one thing you gotta be careful on these young trees is fire blight. So gotta come through here with that streptomycin and make sure that the trees stay nice and healthy. So last year on our Fujis that I planted, I did this during the winter months. After we got them planting, they didn't even start budding out, and I just left them to be. And if I didn't come through here, so whenever these things broke bud, or the Fuji's broke bud last year, the branches, the renewal growth off those the stubs there grew 3 to 4 foot tall, and they just grew up towards the center of the tree. So that's why the summer pruning is so important to this high density system, just because you're trying to get that tree to the wire there, the top of that 9 foot post by the end of the first season. So that's, you know, live and learn one thing at a time. But I just learned about summer pruning here recently, and I realized why my high density systems aren't filling up the space real fast. So now with these newer varieties trying to farm and these expensive trees, we better start doing things right from the beginning. So that's how you do it. Live and learn. Look at this tree. It's just a big bushy mess. So my first year I planted high density. A lot of my trees look like this, so I just tied a bunch of these branches down, and that's why my system didn't work out too well. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and, where you see a wisp like that, cut it off, leave a small stub here, just like that. So you don't want only just 1 leader growing up. That's all you want, 1 leader, nothing else. If you have more than 1 leader, it pulls the power away. You're not gonna fill up that space. And long term, that's not gonna make you money. So on this high density system, costs a lot to put in, but if you do everything right from the beginning, pretty quick return on investment. But if you don't do things right, it's gonna take a lot longer for you to pay off your trees. Quality won't be as great. Your yield will be okay. So gotta do things right from the beginning. But it all takes, like for me, it just took time and energy, you know, trial and error. You plant some, you keep on learning, you keep on planting, keep on asking farmers, keep on doing this. Always learning something new every year. Alrighty, y'all, so we got done with those 1-year-old trees that we planted this year, and showed you guys all that we got done there. But now I'm in our old high density block on my left here. These are these 3-year-old galas, and on my right are these 2-year-old Fujis. So these are going in their second leaf, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what the effectiveness of the stub is and how we're gonna train these for the rest of this growing season in their second year. So we only planted 2 rows of apples last year, and I only pull the first 2 wires. Whenever we get done welding, the rest of the high density will come through here and do these 2 rows, but we're gonna still train them the same. The top of this post here is 9 foot, and this leader right here probably has another 6 inches, 7 inches, and it's good to go. So I'm 6'4", and I can reach, you know, 8 foot something there. So this tree right here is already 8 foot something, and it's, I mean, second year tree. So we planted it last year, came from the nursery, and you can see here it broke bud right there. This is how it came from the nursery. We grew last year to the single leader up to here. So we got a good 18 to 24 inches of growth last year, and then already, since it broke bud this year, we've already gotten a foot of growth. So in the second year, they're gonna grow a lot more vigorous, a lot faster than they did the first year, just because the root system is developed and they got plenty of water and fertilized. So we're gonna reach that top wire there, or the top of the post there, before the end of the season for sure. But now we have all of this stuff here, and we gotta control this before it gets too vigorous. Alrighty, so the stub. So this is a stub here that I made, and yeah, as you can tell here, this stub didn't give out any secondary buds there. So this stub is pointless. I mean, there's nothing there. Nothing's gonna come out. But let me go ahead and show you guys an effective stub. So pull some of these leaves off. So right here is where I made a nice stub cut, and we got 2 effective buds that came out here. This nice side branch that came out, which is a lot smaller, and of course this one right here. So we're gonna have 2 small side branches instead of that big fat one. And 95% of the time the stubs work pretty good. So right here, another nice stub, another nice branch coming out of this one, another stub right here. I mean, 3 branches came out of this stub right here, another stub right there. So the stubs work really well. And up here is just the buds that broke. So we got more stubs that were made, like right there, a nice stub. Now you have nice soft wood. So that's the effectiveness of the stub cut. You can see this tree right here is a lot more visible. This is where we planted it last year, the size. So it broke bud, and the main stem here didn't come, so it budded off a side branch. It grew up to here last year, so we only got, no, it grew from here all the way up to right here last year. So that's a good 2 foot of growth. and then that 1 foot of growth there on top this year already. All these beautiful stubs here that went ahead and did us some good. Okay, so since we're trying to fill out that space, we don't want none of that big fat wood, so the softer wood the better. So what I'm going to come through here and do is I got my fancy pruner here, and since we want some nice soft side branches, we don't want to cut them back to a stub because these are going to produce for us next year. So since we do want some nice branches, we don't want them to be as vigorous. And if you guys can remember, summer cuts devigorate the tree. So I'm going to measure a hand length here, 6 to 8 inches, maybe 9, 10 inches right here, and go ahead and cut the apical meristem off here on every branch at 10 to 12 inches a foot, even more. You can even go 15, 16 inches and just kind of cut off all the growing points there. So this is going to devigorate the tree completely here, and then all the power is going to go to the shoot. And of course, the 16 to 18 inches off the top there, you don't want any of the competition going to the leader there. So nice stubs, not really stubs, just cut those branches in half so we could devigorate the tree. Even down here on the bottoms, cut those tips off. And what's going to happen now, by the time this apical meristem heals, it's going to be the time of year where those buds are going to start setting for next year, the flowering buds. So now all the power and energy here is going to go to flowering buds instead of vegetative growth. So hopefully we're going to see 2-3 apples per limb here by doing this. And of course, all the energy right now currently is going to go to growing the shoot all the way to 9-10 foot tall. So that's the plan. Come through here, cut off all the growing points there, a foot to 18 inches there. And that's it. So it goes pretty quick here, and it's a lot easier to miss these because there's so many of them. So like right here, a foot to 18 inches, kind of cut these tips off here, cut off that growing point. And sometimes this thing's gonna split off here. So instead of getting one, you'll get 2 other growing points here, but that is okay because it'll turn into fruiting buds instead of vegetative growing buds. So just kind of do that to all the trees there. And of course, clean up that leader, make sure there's no competition there to the top of the leader there. Just keep on moving forward. So that is what we do on 2-year-old trees here. 2-year-old Fuji's on Geneva 41 rootstock. So nice, easy, fast. That was competition to the leader. Chop those off. Just do this. So what we want is a nice branch filling up that space. And with other varieties, you might leave the side branches a little longer so you can fill the space even more. But with Fuji's got to be one of the most vigorous varieties that we grow here on our farm. That and Jonathan's are very, very vigorous. So if we don't jump on this training the tree and calming it down from now, it's going to be a pain because all these side branches, if you don't let them, like this one right here, already grew 18 inches since it broke bud. I mean, it's been a month, barely over a month. So this thing right here, by the end of the summer, if we don't maintain it, it's going to be taller than the leader there. So that's why we have to come through here on Fuji's and do this. On other varieties like Galas don't tend to be that vigorous, so you don't need to come through here specifically to summer prune. But vigorous varieties really need this, and summer pruning just really helps to initiate a lot of those fruiting buds here. So that's why we go ahead and summer prune. But always, if you're trying to reach that top wire, clean up that leader. Don't allow any competition to the leader there. Look at this tree. This tree's already 10 foot tall, and it's barely June 1st, so we're going to be way up there by the end of the summer. And I'm 6'4" and I'm barely reaching this. I mean, it's way up there. That's good. That's what I want to see. Chop these up here, fix them up nicely, get some of those fruiting buds going here, cut off the tips. That's about it. Alrighty, y'all, so that's how we run our high density system here. Look at these Galas here. After the heavy frost we had, we're still going to see a nice crop of apples on these 3-year-old trees here. So decent crop. We got to come through and thin these. So every branch there, we got some nice fruit on here. So absolutely looking good, looking real nice. Come through and hand thin these trees. But yeah, super beautiful fruit, absolutely gorgeous. Trees are absolutely loaded. That's what we want to see. You got 3-4 branches, the fruit on each branch. Got some up there, got some on top of the tree there. So everything is looking good. Look at this. 3-year-old fruit. Beautiful fruit. I mean, 3-year-old tree on some beautiful fruit. And got some down there as well. Grow these trees right. See a nice crop, 3rd, 4th year, pretty good. Alrighty, y'all, so this is it for today. If you guys haven't already, go and hit that subscribe button. Smash that like button if you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget, hit that notification icon so you guys can be notified whenever I do upload a video. I want to say thanks for watching up to this point. You guys have a good day, and we will see you next time.